Well, let's shift our focus to the Democratic Republic of Congo. The Central African nation heads to the polls in 2 weeks' time amid security concerns in the eastern parts of the country. President Félix Tshisekedi is up for re-election after a first term focused on fighting the M23 rebel group in the North Kivu region. That's on the border with Rwanda and Uganda. 7 million people have been internally displaced as a result of the conflict. In the hope of putting an end to the rebellion, an East African regional force was deployed to free areas taken by the rebels, and its mission, led by Kenya, is due to come to an end today on Friday. That's after failing to restore peace. Well, earlier I spoke to our senior Africa correspondent, Anne Soy, and I began by asking her how the military withdrawal was going.
You know, it has been a short-lived mission, barely a year, and it was deployed at the request of President Tshisekedi, but who now says that the force has been ineffective in containing the situation there. He has also accused the UN peacekeeping mission there, MONUSCO, of being ineffective. It has been there for longer, but the issues in eastern Congo, where you have been, Catherine, you know how complicated it is. You mentioned M23, but it is not the only armed group that is active there. There are well over 100 armed groups in different parts of eastern Congo. This is a mineral-rich region and a very complex situation there. It is interesting, though, that this is coming just about, just a few weeks to elections there. That's very interesting for the government to ask for this mission to pull out at this time.
And Anne, as these forces leave these areas, they were controlling some territory. So what does that mean in terms of the conflict on the ground? How are the rebel groups, especially M23, reacting?
Well, we have seen in recent weeks that there have been sporadic attacks. M23 has been very keen to gain territory. There have been dialogue in the past, and they agreed to let go of some of that territory. So the attacks have been sporadic. And, apart from M23, we also have the ADF, the Allied Defense Forces, which is affiliated or has sworn allegiance to ISIS. Which is also active in North Kivu. So it's a pretty complicated situation on the ground.
And briefly, how does this all play into the elections that you mentioned they're happening in just 2 weeks' time? How much of a concern are security issues for people there, and could it affect voting?
Absolutely, it's a very, very big concern. But this is a region that has been plagued by insecurity for decades. The previous elections were held in more or less the same circumstances. M23 was not very active at that time, and they by and large managed to pull off the elections. And so it will be interesting to watch what happens on the 20th of December. Even though the forces are pulling out, including MONUSCO, that has also agreed to draw back. We are seeing that the government is still needing their services, the MONUSCO, to deliver electoral materials in areas like Ituri, which is, just bordering Uganda. So it's a complicated situation with this withdrawal of forces, but at the same time, the need on the ground is glaring.